This is a political commentary from the All Sides News Network. Both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton each claim that they won the popular vote in the 2016 presidential election. While Ms. Clinton claims that she won the popular vote by more than 2 million ballots, Trump claims that somewhere between 2 and 3 million illegal aliens or non-registered voters were permitted to vote in the election, and therefore, if these votes are subtracted, he actually won the popular vote. We'd like to take this time to discuss the issue of whether non-citizens and unregistered aliens should be permitted to vote in presidential elections. Pursuant to federal law, a person is eligible to vote in a federal election if they are a U.S. citizen, either by birth or naturalization, they are at least 18 years of age on election day, they are not disqualified from voting due to a court order, they are not under Department of Corrections supervision for a felony conviction, and they meet the state's residency requirements. What we are concerned with here is the first requirement, that the voter be a U.S. citizen, either by birth or naturalization. According to Articles 1 and 2 of the U.S. Constitution, federal and state elections in the United States are run by the states themselves. Notwithstanding, the states are still not permitted to allow non-citizens to vote. Once again, only U.S. citizens are permitted to vote in state and federal elections. The problem occurs because many states do not require proof of citizenship in order to register to vote, and these states also do not require any form of ID before allowing the person to actually vote. The federal form used to register voters only requires that the applicant swear eligibility under penalty of perjury. It does not require the applicant to show proof of citizenship. Further, in the recent case of Kobach versus United States Election Assistance Commission, the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals held that the states may not require documentation for applicants using this federal form. The United States Supreme Court declined to hear the case, leaving the lower court's opinion intact. Therefore, any person registering to vote may use the federal form and simply swear eligibility to vote without having to prove or provide any documentation of citizenship. The Help Americans Vote Act, or HAVA, outlines identification requirements and procedures for voting in federal elections. These requirements apply to all 50 states, as well as the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, Guam, American Samoa, and the United States Virgin Islands. If a state accepts any type of federal funding, it must comply with the HAVA. However, HAVA requirements do not necessarily apply to all registered voters. Those who were registered prior to the law's enactment in 2002 are not covered. Further, the HAVA's voter ID requirements apply only to voters who are newly registering or re-registering in a different county location since 2002. Currently, 18 states do not require any form of ID before allowing persons to vote. And since many states allow voters to register when they obtain a driver's license, and these states do not require proof of citizenship in obtaining a driver's license, it is possible, and in fact very easy, for non-citizens to register to vote. The Daily Signal reports that Hillary Clinton may have received a net 800,000 non-citizen votes in the 2016 election. This report is based upon a 2014 study conducted by Jesse Richman, an associate professor of political science at Old Dominion University. The study looked at non-citizen voting in the 2008 and 2010 elections and concluded that 6.4% of non-citizens in the United States voted in the 2008 presidential election. Applying that number to 2016, Richmond concluded that 6.4% of the 20.3 million non-citizen adults in the United States actually voted. This number equals roughly 1.3 million non-citizen voters in the 2016 presidential election. If 82% of these non-citizen voters voted for Hillary Clinton, the net effect would be an increase of 831,000 votes for Mrs. Clinton over Mr. Trump. However, the Daily Signal does agree that there is no way to know just how many non-citizens actually voted in 2016, and that Mr. Trump's claim that somewhere between 2 and 3 million non-citizens actually voted in 2016 may be correct. Alex Jones of InfoWars has stated that 3 million votes in the U.S. presidential election were cast by illegal aliens, according to Greg Phillips of the Vote Fraud Org organization. Similar statements have been made by others, including Milo Yiannopoulos. Many journalists have disputed Phillips' claim. David Emery of Snopes.com states, Phillips offers no evidence whatsoever to back up the claim that he verified more than 3 million non-citizen votes, nor does he divulge his data sources or methodology, much less explain how it was possible to verify 3 million fraudulent votes within 5 days of a national election. In point of fact, Philip bluntly refuses to share this information with journalists, claiming it will be released in open forum to the American people. It should also be noted that the Public Interest Legal Foundation and Virginia's Voters Alliance found 1,046 illegal aliens across 8 counties in Virginia that were registered to vote. So this is happening. We just don't know the extent of it. So let's back up a minute. Even the most conservative reports found that 1.3 million non-citizens were registered to vote in the United States for the 2016 presidential election. Again, that's 1.3 million non-citizens registered to vote under the most conservative estimates. And remember, the first requirement to vote in a presidential election is that you actually be a citizen of the United States. It is simply ludicrous for people to claim that non-citizens or even undocumented aliens should be entitled to vote. This is not true anywhere else. If you're not a citizen of a country, you don't get to vote for its president. If you're not a shareholder of a corporation, you don't get to vote for its directors. If you're not a member of the Academy, you don't get to vote for which films gets an Oscar. And if you're not a member of Congress, you don't get to vote on which bills or laws get passed. I wonder how Congress would feel if thousands of persons showed up and tried to vote on a bill, stating that no one is allowed to check their membership in Congress or even check their ID before they voted. So honestly, what's the point of having a citizenship requirement for voting if the states are not going to follow it? If Congress believes that there should be no citizenship requirement for voting, then have them change the Constitution. Trump won Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin by a total of 104,000 votes. Honestly, how hard would it be to find 105,000 of the 20.3 non-citizen voters, move them to these 3 states, and take the election? And if the citizenship requirement is removed or not followed, how hard would it be for other countries to flood the United States with non-citizens to vote for any candidate those countries wanted? There is a reason why there is a citizenship requirement to vote in a federal election. Why are we not following it? What do you think? Please comment below. This is a political commentary from the All Sides News Network.